Thousands across Metro Detroit are honoring and celebrating the Juneteenth today.
The Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History held its annual Jubilee celebration in person for the first time since before the pandemic.
Chris Walker joins us with more on how the history of Juneteenth connects with Detroit's Black history.
Historians here at Charles H. Wright Museum say Juneteenth is the celebration of the strength of Black people, people who were free with no place to go, people who built communities from nothing. And 158 years after emancipation, Black people are still thriving from those sacrifices made by the ancestors.
Finding family, finding a way to live, this is what was going on in the 1800s because we had to figure out, if you just get free, what are you going to do?
It's a freedom that came with a price. On June 19, 1865, the word that slavery was finally over made its way to Galveston, Texas, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. But the reality of leaving the plantation with nothing quickly came. Charles H. Wright Museum Community Engagement Director Yolanda Jack says that's where the building began.
One of the first things they did was to see about how they're going to sustain their lives. What could they do? How are they going to grow their food? How are they going to live in their communities?
Jack says the struggle to create an economic base under deep oppression was next to impossible.
Once they were emancipated, many of them became sharecroppers, which eventually became a second type of enslavement because when you weren't being paid or being paid enough to do anything with it, you couldn't buy a home, you couldn't buy land if you were paid at all.
Marcia Black from Black Bottom Archives says Detroit became a safe place for Black people during the Great Migration in the 1910s. By the 1930s, Black Detroiters created their own community in Black Bottom. The neighborhood anchored flourishing businesses that circulated the Black dollar, producing a self-serving community.
We had Black hospitals, we had Black pharmacies, we had Black churches, Black beauty salons, all these cultural centers of Black life. And built it without the support of the city and prospered and created a legacy that people continue to celebrate today. It's miraculous, so yeah.
Reporting in Detroit, Chris Walker, CBS News, Detroit.